today, Ken, we're doing a favorite of mine.
A favorite of mine.
Yeah. And we're doing Otis Redding's Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay. And this song was released at the end of 1967, right after Otis died.
Yeah, that tragic plane crash, man.
Yeah, and so who was in that plane? I know you know, but
the members of the Barcades. I don't know them by name. I did read Donald Duck Dunn.
Duck Dunn. Yeah,
Dunn.
Donald Duck Dunn.
Donald Duck Dunn. Yeah, say that fast 5 times. Blues Brothers, the bass player, Blues Brothers. Well, also before that, Booker T and the MGs. Anyway, long story longer, his bass was on the plane. So his bass survived. He got it a week later, whatnot, after they recovered everything.
Did he ever play it again, the same bass?
I don't know.
We need to find out. If somebody knows if Donald Duck Dunn continued using that bass that was on the plane, I'd like to know, like, if there's some kind of vibe that he felt like, hey, I'm not touching that, or if he's like, hey, I'm going to play it in memory of Otis,
Keep it going, yeah.
And by all means, if you know the answer to that, anybody listening to this, let us know, because we're genuinely interested in something like that.
Yeah, we always love to learn.
That's right. Now, so this is a posthumous song, right?
Yes.
And it hit #1 on the charts after he's gone, right? By far the biggest hit of Otis's career.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that it happens often. So, like when Janis Joplin died, Me and Bobby McGee becomes the #1 hit. Okay.
Yep.
John Lennon dies 1980. His album wasn't doing so hot. Okay, Double Fantasy.
Yeah.
He dies. He's murdered. All of a sudden, the single he had, Just Like Starting Over, shoots up to #1.
Yep.
You know, Jim Croce, when he died in 1973,
Yeah.
Time in a Bottle, #1. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them sad, right? But for their own reasons. But this is what happens. And this happened to Otis. And it's hard, Ken, because I first discovered Otis Redding probably around high school, where I actually knew his name. I've been listening to Dock of the Bay ever since I can remember hearing music.
Yeah.
Okay, but I never knew it was Otis Redding. I might have seen his name on like a Time Life compilation, one of those old commercials that had the song scrolling by, and you're like, oh, I like that song. Maybe I'll buy this compilation. Oh, wait. You have to have a subscription and pay $99.95 over 6 months. There's no way in hell my parents are going to let me do that, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I know Otis Redding. But this song was ingrained in my brain, because in high school there was this guy who I knew, and there was a talent show. This big, tall, black kid with a high top fade.
Hell yeah, high top fade.
Big old glasses. Sitting down on a stool with his guitar
in the middle of the stage in a
That's right,
packed auditorium.
in the auditorium. And there I was in the crowd. Actually, no, because for that talent show, I was doing the lights. I remember that. And this kid that I knew, a good friend of mine, starts playing Dock of the Bay. You remember that?
Yeah, that's crazy. I hadn't had that thought, that memory in 25 plus years.
No, man. I mean, there's a reason this is the first song we're doing. And that's the reason.
And it's all coming back. It's vividly coming back to me.
And I had to mention the high top fade. Always never forget the high top fade.
Love the high top fade.
Yeah. And so for me, that's when this song made impact, where I was like, oh, wow. He's doing this acoustically. Like, I didn't know you could manipulate songs like that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was really excited. But musically, when we're listening to Otis, it's all about the MGs, right? Otis's voice takes over, but musically, the MGs are magic.
Oh, those guys out of Stax, they were phenomenal. Steve Cropper was a mastermind. Steve Cropper is the guitarist. Mm-hmm. Guitarist, he co-wrote this song with Otis, and he was also a producer. He was a very savvy person. Tangent. There's a story where
he's still alive.
He's still alive. He's also in the Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. He's the white guy playing guitar.
Really?
The other one's Matt Guitar Murphy, the black guy. Gotcha. But anyway, so there's a story where Steve did a hit song with another artist, and names escape me. But what he took that one song and was like, you know what? What if I just play it backwards? Bam. Or, portion. He just pick and pull. He is a mad scientist.
It was Knock on Wood.
Thank you. I'm thinking Eddie Floyd.
Eddie Floyd. You're right.
Okay.
Yep. Eddie Floyd's Knock on Wood. That's right.
Just whoop. And I think and then with Wilson Pickett, where he did the reverse, or he took from Eddie. Either way.
Was it In the Midnight Hour?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
But mad scientist nonetheless, crazy genius. And voila, here he was. And so you got pretty much Booker T and the MGs with Isaac Hayes.
Whoa. Shaft?
What you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Shaft played on this. I say Shaft. He didn't play Shaft in the show, but you know.
Yeah.
Since he did the theme song, right? Yep. He did the soundtrack. So Isaac Hayes was playing with Booker T and the MGs and Otis
on this track.
Yeah, because he's from Memphis. So when I was in Memphis about 4 years ago, I went to the Rock and Soul Hall of Fame in Memphis. Great museum, by the way. Awesome museum. And when I was there, I remember seeing Isaac Hayes, and I don't know, they either had like his cape or his like fur coat or something there. But I distinctly remember seeing. Now it makes sense that he would play with these Memphis musicians.
Yeah, because again, he was there. He was part of that crew, and he was. Right. Yeah, well, he wrote Soul Man, for Sam and Dave. So,
really?
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
So
I had no clue.
So he is here. He is ingrained in this, and then Wayne Jackson, Andrew Love on the horns.
What do you mean?
I think, if top of my head, I think Jackson did the brass and Andrew Love did the sax.
Yeah, and really, man,
or
them horns.
Versa. But those horns.
They're kind of what give this song its essence, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, obviously, everybody's paying attention to what Otis is saying because, I mean, the song grabs you. It has that melancholy, but also has that kind of resignation of like, hey, man. Life's going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Like it has that vibe to it. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, man. Just coasting through. But those horns come in, and they just brighten your day. Even though there's that tinge of sadness throughout the song.
Yeah, it's very melancholic.
I'm not wrong in that, right? Like, you feel it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about it right now, man.
Right. And so, for me, when I hear this song, and I think that Otis did not get to capitalize on the success of the song. It kind of makes me sad because I've gone back and I've listened to all the Otis Redding albums. And Dock of the Bay, which was released after he was gone, might be his best album by far. Like the album,
the entire album.
Baby, Please Let Me Come On Home, which I know you love with them horns.
Yep.
Has a re-release of the duet with Carla Thomas, Tramp. I mean, there's so many great songs on that, and Otis just sounds so, I don't want to say mature, but just so weathered. But how old was he when he died?
26, and I'll be 100 years old, and I will still be amazed that because the amount of life in his voice. Yeah. He sounds like that old man down at the corner in his rocking chair. Like, what do you think you know about life?
Has all that wisdom.
Yep. Just like, wow, he was just a kid.
Sitting under the learning tree.
Yeah.
And man, when I was 26, man, I didn't have a clue.
Oh, yeah, because we suffered from cranorectal inversion at that age. Yes.
I don't even want to know what that is.
Hey, it's a kid's show. It's still PG, so you can look that up.
Oh, my God.
Left my home in Georgia. Every time I heard that, it would grab me because even growing up before I realized he was from Georgia, just hearing him sing and being from Texas, I'm like, all right, no, I know where you're from. Because you could hear it in his voice. You could hear he's from the South.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it made sense. I'm like, okay, so it was, I'm just going to assume, somewhat semi-biographical, him sharing about himself.
Well, it is, because remember, he says, I headed for the Frisco Bay, right?
Yep.
Otis's big breakout, his big live breakout performance was at Monterey in California.
Festival,
so, I mean, he stole the show. Up until
Hendrix.
Yeah.
James Marshall. But yeah, he did. He was the talk.
Right. And so yes, it is autobiographical to an extent. And that's what some songwriters are going to do that, right? They're going to take pieces that are true to life and maybe then put it with a little bit of fiction just to make a coherent, complete piece.
Yeah. And that's Sitting Here Resting My Bones, man. As you mentioned, the talent show, that last line has always grabbed me. Every time I heard that in the song, Sitting Here Resting My Bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone.
Yeah, just stop right there, right? Yeah. That's it. Now, that's for most people. I've done that trek where 2,000 miles I roam. I've done that.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it.
Yep.
You've seen over the last few years, I've done a lot of traveling over the United States. You're going to hear it over and over on the show because it's such a part of my life where, man, I just grab them keys, hop in the car. Hopefully it's running at the time. It's not broken down. And I just drive, man. Okay, who do I know who lives 2,000 miles away? Let's go there.
Yeah.
And then I've been there, man. I've felt that. But I've also been where you just sit there, maybe not on a dock, but just sit there looking at the ocean, looking at the Mississippi River, looking at the Grand Canyon, and you're just like, I am insignificant. There's that whole ocean out there. I'm only seeing a fraction of it, and that thing could swallow me whole. That Grand Canyon could make me disappear for good.
Oh, yeah.
That Mississippi River could wash me away. I'm so insignificant. You go look at the Rocky Mountains, you're like, yep, I could disappear and nobody would ever find me.
Yeah, the world will remind you
just
how
man.
small you really are in this world.
Yeah, and I think Otis kind of encompasses that in this song, and I'm not trying to get sentimental here, right? But all of that stuff we're talking about the music, the horns, the lyrics, Otis's voice, how sad it was that he didn't live beyond this song. For me, it still takes me back to a talent show where I'm running lights and this big, tall black kid with a high top fade gets there on his electric car.
It was an
sits on
acoustic.
the stove.
It was an acoustic.
Yeah. Did I say electric?
You said, but
Whatever.
Either way, tomato. It was in tune. That's
it was in tune. Because I'm the kind of friend who would let you know it was out of tune during the show. Hey, it's out of tune. Yeah. Fix it, kid. I would have done that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but to be fair, I wouldn't have known it was out of tune. That took me 25 years to learn. Anyway.
And one song, and here we are now.
Yeah.
Almost 30 years later.
So let me ask you this. So Dock of the Bay, for me, it resonates because it's personal. Okay. If we played this for our kids, does it still resonate? Because remember, they don't make music like this anymore.
Funny you should say that.
Talk to me.
Played it for my 16-year-old just earlier today. And I asked him, have you ever heard this song before? No. What do you think about it? Oh, this is a cool song. Now, this kid doesn't think, well, one, I am the most uncool person walking the earth in this kid's eyes. And I'm good with that.
That might be in everyone's eyes. But,
yeah, definitely is. So he heard the song, and I played it twice because like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I played it again. I didn't bother to go into the Otis's story.
Did you get to the whistling part? Did he hear the whistling?
He heard the whistling.
Was he whistling by the third time?
No.
Oh, man. You have let him down.
But also, I don't think he can whistle.
Oh, okay, that's fair then.
But he loved the song
because it's that whistling, man. At the end, just like, hey, what when the world can swallow you whole, what else can you do but whistle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no. And so for me, in that sense, the staying power, because it's not really a song that you hear regularly on TV or in commercials,
True.
Right?
True.
But for me, if you want a song that sounds organic, you don't have all this synthesized. This is just Otis's voice, right? You're not hearing all of the auto tuning and the.
Oh yeah, well,
there's
stacks. It was simple. 2 microphones. One for Otis, one for the band. So what you hear is what you got.
That's so amazing to me that you can have so much professionalism and talent that's all you need, right?
Oh, absolutely, and that's the beauty of music from the '60s. R&B, but definitely out of stacks because. Right. Limitation spawns creativity. And so they worked with what they had. And
it's some of the greatest music I've ever heard, man. I love Stax sound from the 60s. Sam and Dave, True. Otis, True. Otis and Carla Thomas. I love it all. Like, I really do. And these are things that if I didn't pay attention to them over and over again, preparing for the show, that I would not appreciate any other time. Because I've been listening to the song, Ken, for 30 plus years. The song is over 50 years old.
Yeah, well, we've heard it for over 30 plus years. Definitely, we've been listening to it
for long. Yeah, that's true.
Definitely listening.
We weren't alive when this song was made. But anyway, so Ken, to sum this up, I feel that this is an all-time classic. Like, taking out my personal connection, with listening to you play it.
And I agree, because case in point, 16-year-old today, heard it, never heard it before in his life. liked it.
And the minute I hear it, I'm always whistling that part at the end. I love the whistle. Anyway, so Ken, always love talking music with you. For everyone out there listening, if you enjoyed the show, please hit like and hit subscribe, and we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.